everybody, I'm finally back. I am so sorry. I know I meant to tell y'all that, or told y'all that I was going to actually try and put out reviews while I was away. It didn't happen like I wanted to, mostly because I was going to try and record off of my smartphone. That didn't work because the picture quality on it was just terrible. I hated it. It's worse than this quality. I was going to record off my computer, which I know it actually does have a good camera. For some reason, I guess during the flight out there, maybe the camera got a little jostled or something, but it wasn't reading it anymore. So I had to wait to do this. But hey, y'all are going to get bombarded because y'all are going to have 7 reviews, including this one, and you get blue hair. I decided to change my hair color because I was like, why not? I've been blonde for nearly 30 years. Let's go blue for a couple of months. So, as you can all see, I am here to talk about the newest and the biggest movie this weekend, Jigsaw, a film I wasn't looking forward to in any retrospect because I'll put it to you this way, my premature relationship with the Saw franchise is a bit strained at times. It has some merits here and there. They can actually do some decent effects. They usually can come up with some somewhat inventive traps. And usually the first 3 had some decent acting from maybe lesser known actors, or at least, actors who haven't been doing as much. Such as you got a great performance from Danny Glover from the first one. Tobin Bell's always awesome. And they keep bringing him back in every single one of these films. It's so weird. And Cary Elwes really stole the show throughout the entire first film. First film was really a true psychological horror film, while the others began to go more towards gore, which it's fine, but I think the third one really began to go way too much towards that gore. And because of that, it began to set up more and more super uber elaborate traps that just began to lose their real punch. I mean, it's strange to describe it that way, but the traps began to get so elaborate that they began to be more the centerpiece than the film itself. And because of that, you realize how usually weak the stories are in all of these films. So, how is it that they ended it in all essence? Had Cary Elwes oh look, I've been behind it all the time. From the 7th one, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. How did they bring this back? By really ignoring the last movie and acting like that everybody was wanting to see fucking 5 again. 5 is probably one of the... It's either 5 or 6. I can't remember which one it was with the insurance people. Whichever one that is. I really want to say it's 6. Yeah, it's 6. 5 jumped the shark and was a big, giant turd. The 6th one was no better. A lot of people are like, well, it's not as bad. Mostly because it tried to have this insurance message and it just fell on its face a lot of times. And then on top of everything, you have all this side stuff dealing with in the 5th one, or 6th one, sorry. That's another bad thing. They really blend together after the 4th. Hell, the 4th one really just blends with the 3rd one. Because it's like, hey, we're going to show you all this crap that happened in the 3rd film. But really we're adding about 20 minutes of new footage. It's the cheapest damn movie I've ever seen in my entire life, I swear. With this, they really act like, oh, when it started to go really crazy after a while? Yeah, we're going to ignore those because you don't get... I can't remember his name, but he was a detective who we learned in the 4th one was working with Jigsaw. You don't get Cary Elwes. I'm sorry, I mispronounced his name. All you get is these people who you see the traps in the actual trailers. Trailers spoiled the ever-living shit out of this movie. And just fair warning, I'm going to spoil it. It's not a good film. It's got a lot of problems. films. And mostly, it deals with the fact that most of the characters in this that talk to each other, the people who are stuck in the traps, they really don't have any character other than he's the shouty guy. She's the lady who's obviously got something she's hiding more. He's the black guy. She's the lady who looks like a druggie, but they don't ever go into there. I don't know. It like they kept saying their names, but it began to feel so unimportant. Like, literally, these just simply felt like bodies that were going through the motions of eventually they will die. And that's not what we want in a Saw movie. We want a film where we're constantly guessing who's going to live, who's going to die, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And instead, you have a bunch of people who are just fucking idiots, for lack of a better term. And that really makes it to where it's hard to really give a shit about most of these characters, or most of the story for a big chunk. The main focus, though, it's sad to say it this way, is one detective who, I'm pretty sure English is not his first language because I heard his accent kick in every now and then. And this other guy who everything they say, it sounds like they're trying to be detectives on a television show. It's so weird. Their delivery is awkward the whole time, and you're like, what the hell are they doing here? Because honestly, I don't know why they sounded the way they did. It always felt weird and forced. But we're focused on this one guy who ends up, oh, he's actually a bad cop. He does horrible things. Why? I don't know. Why it becomes important only because at the end, you learn this medical examiner, he originally had been targeted by Jigsaw way back when. It was part of the first real elaborate traps that Jigsaw was doing, even though they're more elaborate and over the top than anything that was in the first, second, or third movie, which makes no damn sense. But you learn that this medical examiner was targeted by Jigsaw, and Jigsaw took pity upon him because he's like, oh no, I shouldn't kill him. He just made a simple mistake. Never mind the fact that's not part of Jigsaw's thing. Yeah, this movie really doesn't seem to get the, for lack of a better term, they don't understand what Jigsaw's purpose is, or what he actually did, or why he did things he did. He was trying to get people to appreciate life, especially those who so willingly would steal it from others, or, you know, do stuff unto others. Now, like I said, I'm fine with that it's a moral conundrum you can deal with yourself if you really want to, and if you're that curious. Just, you know, fight it out in the comments or anywhere else. I don't care. This movie, we learned this medical examiner, he's redoing Jigsaw stuff, trying to make Jigsaw seem like he's still alive. Why, I don't know. It's like, we know he's fucking dead. There's not a question. Then they decide to keep showing these 4 or 5 people, and they're like, oh, look, they, how am I trying to put this? Pretty much like, they're being tortured by Jigsaw. He's even right there in their faces, and yeah, it turns out that's all in the past. It's just a big flashback, so it makes over half the movie moot. Like, it's completely pointless. There's no reason that needs to be there except to give gore. It only exists so that way we could try and have some kind of gore stuff happening, because other than that, it doesn't have a purpose, except for a little bit at the beginning with smell exam where he said, I was a guy who got his back cut and blah 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 blah. I'm going to go for revenge, unlike Jigsaw. Blah, 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 blah. And he ends up killing this one cop because the cop was dirty, and ended up letting this one guy go that ended up killing his wife, though. We don't know why he let that guy go, how that actually made him dirty. It could just be he's incompetent. I don't know. And like right there, I had described the meat and bones of the fucking plot. It's always been a problem that the movies have had a bare bones plot, but it's also been something that they at least give you something to talk about. Like you could talk about the kills, which unfortunately are fucking hilarious a lot of times. Like there's way too many times where I found myself laughing at a lot of stuff. Like this one guy, he's going down this thing that obviously he wouldn't get cut or hurt by, but for somehow it's cutting him a little. And it looks like this, it looks like it's supposed to taper, but it's just straight. It's like a giant drill, and he's in, except for it's a reverse drill. And then it's like, oh, well, he's gonna die. I'll stop the thing. Instead of just kicking, because it's this motorcycle, it's running this whole drill thing. Pardon me. Instead of her just like, oh, I'll just kick it off, or, you know, fucking puncture the engine so that way it just catches on fire. It's like, oh, well, he's fine now. No, instead she tries to stick in that wheel and then it breaks because, of course, it's the crummiest piece of metal you've ever seen in your entire life. And then he just gets splintered, and it's the most hilarious looking thing. Especially, that's literally the noise he makes. It's as hilarious as anything that's in it. Which, unfortunately, that's the problem. Is like that movie's still funny. It's not scary though. Now, that's one of the kills. So our guy ends up getting killed because this lady is stupid, which that goes against Jigsaw's way of doing things. Because he leaves it to where people are willing to sacrifice a little bit for themselves, or a little bit of themselves, or anything like that, they will be able to, you know, get out the traps. In this, he sets up the shotgun that actually has the keys to their actually literally getting out of their chains. And this lady's going to shoot him just because, like, yeah, we'll get us out. But instead, it blasts her in the face and destroys her keys. And that, again, that goes against Jigsaw's way. He would not leave it to where they will die no matter what. Like, the guy wasn't trying to kill her. He wasn't even trying to do anything unto her. Instead, he was just, you know, trying to save his own life in that instance. But also, he was even trying to warn her near the end. It's like, hey, don't do that. He even said that it's backwards. I don't know. It's one of those weird things. And also, like, at one point, there's this lady, she ended up killing this lady. She stole her purse, and for that, they're all about to hang, and it's like, well, if you inject her with this thing, you'll make it stop. But this is why? I guess he's watching the whole time? I don't know, they don't explain it real well. And they're just sitting there screaming at each other the whole time. And this guy's like, well, you just gotta do this one. Well, is all what she's doing the whole time. It's like, oh my god, why would any human being be acting like this? Like, it's like, okay, just, you know, this one thing holds symbolism to you, so it's obviously it's gotta be that one thing. Well, that's how much it was I stole. But instead she's just, and because of that, every time somebody has something happen to them and they die, it's unintentionally hilarious. And it doesn't help all the characters scream and flail around like they're freaking Muppets. It's unintentionally funny. Because of that, you don't give a shit. This is a whole lot of movie just doing this going, this is a thing I'm watching right now. It's not a good thing, but it's a thing. The side plot, or what's supposed to be the meat and bones about them supposedly looking for Jigsaw's killer, it's actually none of that. It's just this guy recreating Jigsaw's stuff, but he's not even going Jigsaw's way of doing things, which really, really sets for a bad mood in anybody's mouth if they look more into the lore of how Saw and all that works. But this is a shitty Saw film. I mean, I was not going into this with high hopes. Mind you, the last few Saw films have all been fucking terrible. But this one really somehow, it's just as bad as the rest. I can't say it's any worse. I mean, does, say, hey, we're going to fuck over the continuity and we're going to pretend like 4 films didn't happen. But on top of everything, we're going to make it for a very, very dull flick. And that's just the worst thing about it. It's dull. It's not interesting. Oh yeah, like the final kill, like supposedly like they have these lasers that'll be able to cut through flesh and bone. And it cuts through this cop's head and it looks like the thing from Stranger Things. It's hilarious. It's like, okay, thanks for that. But, oh god, and not only that, but this is a movie that, the original Saw film worked because it was on such a minuscule budget that there really couldn't be much in the way of gore. There was a lot of thinking about how things were, but there also was no CGI. The second one I know used minimalistic CGI here and there. The third one started to get a little heavier in the CGI, but still a lot more practical effects than anything. Fourth one, similar, but still it had some problems. Fifth one started going more towards CGI gore, especially. It's bad. Sixth one really had a lot, and seventh one was littered with it because it was supposed to be in 3D. This one, almost all of it feels like it's freaking CGI gore, and also it feels tame. It's a weird way to describe a Saw film that way, but it feels like constantly you're. How am I trying to put this? It feels like whenever you would see truly like bloody bits or somebody really get cut up or anything, it feels like it cuts away or there's not as much blood or gore as you would think. And because of that, I guess you could say this is technically worse. It feels very neutered. This feels like if somebody gave the original script to Saw to a production company that was very much Hollywood, high Hollywood, instead of Lionsgate, which they kind of like to fuck around with things a lot. They're willing to let their directors have a little bit more leeway on certain things. But yeah, this one feels, like I said with Blair Witch last year, that felt like a Hollywood remake of the original Blair Witch film, which neither one are good. This feels like a Hollywood remake of the first Saw film. It's like we have to have this over-the-top bullshit. Like, nobody can just die, and not only that, but these traps are so overtly elaborate. It's like you can't believe that a guy who's on his deathbed, in all essence, is able to think up all this bullshit. So, I guess I need to give this a score, because I eventually got to give y'all a bunch of reviews. Just let y'all know, again, if y'all follow me on Facebook or anything, I didn't see anything the Friday before I left. I had an accident, actually, so I actually was dealing with insurance and everything. And so I also had no car, so I couldn't even go see something. Because I was going to go see some Friday before and do a quick review and put it out. No luck. But there will be a review of The Foreigner. I did go see that. Geostorm. Of course, also... Oh, what the hell was it? The House. I watched that on the plane, so I'm going to go ahead and do y'all a review for that. And also, I got two manga reviews. I was bored. I was out in California. I read 2 mangas. So, y'all can look forward to that, but I guess if I'm going to give you a quick score on Jigsaw, it's a 1. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to think of something positive. The acting is bad throughout. I mean, this isn't even like, oh, it's laughably bad, or it's even like, okay, it's just passable, it's nothing great. I mean, everybody feels like they're trying to be way over the top in not a good way. It feels like the difference between the underacting from Dungeons & Dragons and Jeremy Irons overacting is like, Jeremy Irons is really cheesing it up, and ham is just a big old slice of ham. The air lady is just a piece of wallpaper. That's what you get a lot. You get a lot of wallpaper. But then on top of everything, that CGI gore, it really is distracting. And again, how tame this movie feels, and how little it actually does to the entire how much it gives to the franchise, and more importantly, how much it fucks with the franchise in not good ways. I can't recommend this in any way. I can't even recommend it to curious Saw fans. This is just not a good film. And that's the thing. Anybody who watches this is going to feel like they wasted their money and wasted their time. I felt like it. It was only an hour and a half long. But damn, did it feel long, too. It was like, oh my god, I can get to the point. So, yeah, Jigsaw. Miss it. Go see anything else, I think. Hell. I wish I could. That is the one thing I will say is, like, this October's not been great for movies. I've watched a few. But, yeah. Yeah, I'll get some more reviews up for y'all and have them out and you can deal with more blue hair. So, until then, I'll see you all later. So, bye-bye, everybody.